Now, I'm going to show you two videos here. One's from CBS, how I've been seeing the, liberal globalist order tackling the Trump news that he's putting a 10% tariff on Canada. Apparently, he did it because he was annoyed at an advert, so he decided to stop trade talks. To be honest, that's probably not what's going on at all, and it just sounds really pathetic, but there's a lot of games being played, and a lot of people don't know what's going on. So the second clip after that is probably going to show you what exactly is going on. It comes from the Lotus Eaters, and it's from an expert of geopolitics, so I trust him more than most other people. So anyway, the fact that Canada is going very close to China, and the Americans don't like that at all. And Trump is going to meet Xi Jinping, the leader. And what is really going on in Europe is the energy crisis that's happening is getting America really amped up. Because America's aim is trying to destroy Europe. Is trying to destroy their economic pressure, so they're reliant on America for energy. Because for a while, the Germans, such as Volkswagen making their cars, was very reliable on Russian oil and gas. And now the war's been going on for so long, and now the money's not even working, and the companies are failing back, and the energy prices are through the roof. And we've just heard news that 3 oil refineries magically blew up. And they're all connected to Russian oil gas. So I think, without a doubt, as a conspiracy theorist, safe to say that America is using the Ukrainian war as a proxy for them to destroy Europe. And the reason that the tariffs came in is because America can be just as well damaged as Europe. Because if Canada tries to buy and sell energy to Europe, America can't have that when they're loving the cheap energy and everyone else is enjoying massive price hikes. That just doesn't work. Let's watch the two videos. See what you think.
He announced new punishing tariffs on an ally. CBS's Willie James Enman is at the White House with new reporting on that. Willie James.
Tarika, good evening to you. Tonight, President Trump says he's raising tariffs on some Canadian goods by another 10%. The punishing increase coming as he travels to Asia to meet with world leaders, including China's President Xi.
We have a lot to talk about with President Xi, and he has a lot to talk about with us. I think we'll have a good meeting.
But one leader at the meeting getting the cold shoulder, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
What they did is really dishonest.
Trump abruptly ended all trade negotiations with America's second largest trading partner after the government of Ontario ran an anti-tariff TV ad using the words of one Republican president against another. President Ronald Reagan's words from a 1987 radio address.
But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
The ad still playing this weekend, seen by millions watching the World Series. Ontario says it will stop on Monday, not soon enough for Trump, as he says he'll add an additional 10% tariff on some Canadian goods. As the government shutdown reaches day 25, millions of workers are without pay, but Trump says a mystery donor gave $130 million to pay servicemen and women, despite legal and ethical concerns.
Bobalians, when you cut them off welfare, which is going to be the main political demand for anybody who's sane, that you cut the welfare for the foreigners before you do it for the natives, they're going to riot. And all of your money is going to have been spent trying to fight a land war against Russia, a feat at which Hitler and Napoleon both failed, and they were both imminently more qualified militarily than anybody running the show right now. So there is this recklessness involved in this. And what does Trump do on the back of this? Well, he imposes more sanctions on the Russians in order to make it harder for everybody else to acquire energy while the Americans get all the cheap energy that they want. And I would expect the Americans to start slapping Canada now at some point because it's too close to China, and to make sure that the Canadians are sending their energy to the Americans as well, bringing down the price for the U.S. further.
Well, there has to be very strong incentives for the Canadians put in place, otherwise they could trade with Europe because they can produce a fair amount of energy themselves.
Well, most of their assets are geared towards the other side of the world, which is why slapping them around and blowing up some of their stuff might convince them to redirect it. The Canadians have become too close to the Chinese, essentially. And this whole story of them cozying up to Europe, I mean, they don't have a military. So they're going to be punched in the face in the same way that Europe is being punched in the face as part of this American consolidation.